All right, the woman who helped transform the Montrose Center into a beacon of support for Houston's LGBTQ plus community will step down as CEO. She served the center for more than 3 decades. Our Andy Sirota recently spent some time with Ann Robison as she reflected on her remarkable journey. Andy is joining us now this morning to share about what they talked about. Good morning, Andy, and thanks for being with us. I know it's a little early. We'll get right to it so you can get some rest. I hope you have some coffee with you. Ann arrived to the Montrose Center during a very critical time. What did she tell you about all that during your conversation?
Yeah, so one thing about Ann Robison is when you meet her, immediately you see that big, bright smile and the passion and the dedication and commitment that she has for the Montrose Center is palpable. So she arrived at the Montrose Center back in December of 1988, really at the height of the HIV crisis, just as AIDS was ravaging the local Houston community. There was treatment for the disease. It was sparse, and really at that time it was quite ineffective. All of those factors helped her craft a mission and a vision for the Montrose Center. And she described the time really as an emergency on several different levels. Not only were they broke, but they were actually in debt to their landlord, and at the same time they were trying to provide services. So there was no money for that. So they resorted to house parties, bake sales, really whatever they could do to raise money. It wasn't until, she says, around 1991 when federal money became available, and then they were really able to launch their full range efforts and do what they do today in terms of some of the programs that they started.
And talking about some of those programs, what are some of the services that the Montrose Center might offer someone in need of help?
Okay, so let's put this into perspective. During Robison's tenure at the Montrose Center, when she started, they had 13 employees with a budget of $385,000. Now, here we are in 2023, she has grown the Montrose Center to 95 employees with a budget of $10 million. And really her vision for the Montrose Center helped establish it as the heart and the hub of Houston's LGBTQ plus community. What she wanted to do was have something all-encompassing, especially when it came to helping those with HIV. And that's really been the bedrock in terms of the monies that they've been able to raise, unfortunately, she says, because when she arrived, there were so many people who were dying from AIDS. So really, the outreach started not only with those folks who were dealing and living with HIV, but their families as well, and helping their families through the grief process, because again, like she said, there were just so many people who had succumbed to the virus. In terms of programs, the Montrose Center has been able to absorb a lot of smaller organizations. I'm going to use my cheat sheet here for a second because there's so many, right? So groups like Hatch Youth, LGBTQ Switchboard Houston, the Lesbian Health Initiative, Assist Hers, Kindred Spirits. Those are just a few of the programs that the Montrose Center took under its wing and was able to provide services to. And when we talk about services, we're talking about everything from transportation to housing. And one thing that they put a premium on was mental health services. That became the cornerstone of the outreach that they did in the LGBTQ plus community. And it was really, again, I use the word all-encompassing again, because they wanted to provide services really, as she described it, from birth to death. So everyone from children to seniors. Here's a portion of our interview. Take a listen.
We serve 2 groups. There's the 13 to 20-year-olds that come in 3 days a week and have 3 hours of service. They have a social hour because they're scattered through all different schools and they want to build and need to build a community. Then they have a programming hour, and then they have a support group hour. And then the 7 to 12-year-olds come in with a parent. They come in twice a month, and they kind of do the same thing. And while the youth are in their services, PFLAG, Parents and Friends of Lesbians and Gays, does a support group for the parents, and mostly that's information sharing. But it is an essential service to that age group, especially because a lot of them are just under attack and don't feel supported in their schools. We've absorbed programs or started programs because we saw a need that wasn't being adequately served by the mainstream organizations. Not that they didn't want to, it's that there's special needs, and we can affirm those needs and cater to them.
You used the word thrive quite a bit during our conversation. What is your hope for the center's future?
Well, I mean, I really haven't identified any unmet needs. I'm sure they're out there. And our newest program that we started is around transgender wellness. Again, we don't provide medical services, but wellness is a very broad topic. I can see us doing a lot more in that area. But I think it's up to the community to tell us what's next, and we figure out how to make it happen.
Andy, as you mentioned, invaluable services there.
Yeah, and as you just heard her say, it's really about listening to the community, Bill, and then taking their suggestions and recommendations and their needs, and then crafting a vision from there. And that's how she's been able to get things done over the course of more than 3 decades. I mean, she didn't mince words, right? It is a 24/7 job, especially when you're overseeing 95 employees and you're responsible for a $10 million budget and continuing to be front and center on those fundraising efforts, because a lot of the work and a lot of the things that they do all depend on the generous donors out there in the Houston community and beyond.
All right, Andy, before we let you go, we just want to know how you would tease your story. What can we expect? What's the message that you really want to get to folks out there that will be watching later today?
Yeah, so it was great. We got to spend part of the morning with Ann. Part of the interview that we did was at the Montrose Center, right? But there's one thing that she has done in her 35 years of service that she calls her proudest accomplishment. And we did part of our interview there. We got a tour of this place. All I can tell you, I don't want to give too much away here, it is something that required her to spend 10 years of planning and fundraising with a specific goal in mind, and that was to help seniors in not just the LGBTQ plus community, but seniors in and around Houston in general, who felt like that they were being priced out of the places that they were living, which at that time were closer into Houston. And it's just remarkable what she's been able to do. The other thing that we talked about was her successor. She gave me one piece of advice to her successor, very important. That person is someone who's coming in from Dallas. I believe she's going to start in middle of February. One piece of advice that she's got for her successor, that's something that we also talked about. And we also talked about what's next for her on a personal level, right? I mean, 35 years of service. She's writing her swan song. She's ready to sail off into the sunset, and she's got quite the agenda planned. And I'm really looking forward to sharing all of those tidbits with you coming up first this afternoon at 4 o'clock. Photojournalist Vladimir Moquette and myself just really enjoyed the time that we spent with Ann, and we really got a sense of who she is, not just on a professional level, but on a personal level as well. And I'm really excited to share that with the audience today.
All right, we're looking forward to it. Andy Sorota, thank you for waking up with us this morning.